Hello, everybody. There are too many friends to greet one by one. It's not possible. As a rule, as a general rule, we are having this kind of meetings divided in two parts. The first part is a presentation. It is recorded. It will later be made available, let's say published. We have been having monthly meetings for the whole 2024 year. Normally, as a rule, one for each nation organization to present itself. And after this, I don't know, 30 to 60 minutes of presentation, we will have a second part, a discussion, a question and answer part. This one will be recorded too, but it will remain private. It will not be published in order for everybody to feel free to ask questions or give answers. But as of now, I will leave Frédéric Courtade, that is the chairman of JPAN. He will tell us what this exactly is. It's the UFO UAP study group within the French National Space Center since 1977. Frédéric has been named appointed director last year, and he's going to tell us everything about what JPAN is doing or not. It's up to you.
Okay, thank you, Eduardo. Thank you, Michael, to let me explain what is the job of JPAN inside the French Space Agency. So, yes, I am managing the JPAN, the French group for information and study on UAPs. I took this position 1 year ago. And so I will try to explain you how it works and what is the goal of this group inside the French Space Agency. I will tell some word about the organization of the JPAN. I saw that some people behind their laptop belongs to the JPAN organization as investigator, expert, or so on. I will try to explain that. I will give you some figures of JPAN. What is JPAN nowadays? The process of JPAN, how we investigate UAPs through the French territory, because JPAN has an official position in France, the metropolitan territory, and also overseas territory. I will take some word about the case ranking philosophy. Example of investigations. So nothing really amazing. It's only to explain how we work. And I will give you some information and some word about the work we do to make kind of networking of organizations that work with the same philosophy as JPAN worldwide. So yes, so the JPAN is part of CNES, the French Space Agency. We are part of the executive directorate called the Technical and Digital Directorate. 960 people in this directorate. At JPAN, we are 3 CNES staff. We are located in Toulouse, in France, in the south of France. And the JPAN mission over the last 48 years, because JPAN was formerly named JPAN and CEPRA. JPAN, the organization of JPAN I will present today is it's an organization what has been launched after a reorganization in 2006. So the mission is to collect, try to explain rationally the UAPs reported over the French territory, publish the work we did, and inform the citizen and the community through website open worldwide. The process is to collect or to gather the testimonies of observation of UAPs, makes an analysis and investigation to try to explain this unidentified phenomena. and inform the witness and the public through the website about the work and about the result we got after the investigations. We have a lot of partners. I will come in the next slide. Well, yes, I don't know how to translate National Gendarmerie and police, which are enforcement forces in France. The Air and Space Department of Defense in France, if you want. Domestic Aviation Regulation Traffic Organization called DGAC. The CNRS, which is a large organization in France in charge of research and science, and also partner with Météo France, which is the national weather agency in France. There is also a steering committee. The GEPAN has to present in the yearly basis what the job done, and the steering committee has to survey the fact that we fulfill our missions and not go over these missions. So this steering committee is made up of CNES and partner managers from who are working with us. I put some figure about the Toulouse Space Center. I don't know if some people know this. The main entrance today of the CNES in Toulouse is the biggest plant for CNES. We are about 2,000 people there, and also CNES have center in Paris, the headquarters in French Guiana, the launch base, and also in Paris downtown for space transportation office. I put in this chart how the organization, in fact. GEPAN is three CNES staff. We have our own website, mastered by GEPAN. And my job and the job of the CNES staff is to maintain and I would say make an animation of many clusters who are working with us. First of all, in CNES we have a specific expertise on space situational awareness. Also some technical skills on detection, radar, optical, and so on. We are connected with partners which come from academic service of the French in France. There is a strong links in between CNES GEPAN and these partners. So I also I remind you the French Gendarmerie and the police, so enforcement forces, the DOD, the Air and Space DOD, the DGAC, which is air traffic management, Météo France for the weather, the CNRS for astronomy and also psychology, and the local university here in Toulouse also for psychology for the treatment of the test of some testimonies. Something really specific is investigators for the GEPAN. We are three CNES, but there are also 15 investigators through the territory who work with GEPAN in a volunteer basis. Today there are 15. The goal is to increase the number up to 18 or 20 in the current year, so maybe in 2 years. So these investigators are enrolled in this pool by us. We have a specific process to enroll these investigators, and we provide a kind of formation on the GEPAN methodology to make the investigations. And there are also in this pool of investigators very skilled guys who are working in the domain of UAP for many years, who help us to maintain a great level of investigation for our work. There is also a board of experts which are coming from external staff, where they are not CNES. We maintain this board, and we have inside some experts, national experts, I would say, maybe international, but we keep at national level in various domain of aerial and space domain, sorry, so the astronomy, aeronautics, optronics, drones, parachutists, weather, I don't know, image processing, detection, lightning, some scientists for birds, for insects, for bats, and also some expert in a very specific aspect we have to deal with is the psychology of the witnesses with some expert in cognitive psychology and so I would say in psychology of the extraordinary experiments. As I said, the GEPAN is there is a survey of the GEPAN by the COPEPAN, which is the steering committee, and this COPEPAN is made by a manager of CNES and manager of all the partners who are in this group. In figures, so I already said that we are 3 staff, CNES, plus some operational supports, 2 more people. So investigators today, so volunteers from France, enrolled and trained by GEPAN, 15 experts. So I'll come back there. So we receive about 3,000 solicitations per year to various ways. There is a generic mailbox. We took the testimonies from the gendarmerie, the police, from the air traffic management office also. This solicitation lead to have about 900 UAPs reported per year. Most of these reported UAPs we are able to give an explanation to the witness without a huge investigation, without an effort. This is, I would say, evident phenomenon, recurrent phenomenon, or sometimes it's out of scope of GEPAN, but there is some solicitation who are out of scope of the GEPAN. So we're trying to give the support, but this is not an UAP. And around I would say 90 to 120 case of reported UAPs lead to open a huge investigation. This investigation is assigned to the investigators from the pool of volunteers mainly. A lot of things in our database. We have collected 13,000 testimonies, which are reported in our database. Some very old. There are, almost 100,000 documents inside this database. You will find at the end of February around 3,200 investigate cases which are published in the website. And today we have in our work to do, because there is a lot of things to do still. About 1,000 testimonies are still under investigation, and we expect to make the job to try to drive down this number of cases we are not today completely investigated. GEPAN receives funding from the CNES, so I have a certain amount of money to allow to maintain an operational effort of the GEPAN. So we master our own website. We receive a lot of requests from media for communication and information on UAP. And also we try to give an information to the students. For instance, I give an information on UAP, on student pilots and student on air traffic management. Also other domain in aerospace, but I don't come into the details. So I put here a screenshot of our database. So I will not go through the database today. The main thing I have to say with this database is the fact that some steps and some field of this database is shared with the investigators in France. So yes, it's a very I would say collaborative database, not only filled by the CNES staff but also by the investigators, and we trust on the professionalism of our volunteers to fulfill this database, and at the end of the treatment of the case to get the best investigation we can. So there is a lot of field here. I don't come into details, but it's in French. I will come if you want later. The process of the GEPAN, in fact, there is 19 steps. Okay, but I put in this slide, I would say, the main of the steps, steps that lead to understand how we work. The first step, of course, is the collect or the gathering of the testimony. So we have the mailbox of GEPAN, the generic mailbox of GEPAN, which is reachable by people who know that the mailbox exists, of course. But the people who want to make a witness story of UAP can also go in the French Gendarmerie office or in the police office to make their deposition. Some disposition has been led to this group to collect the testimony in the right way to make an efficient investigation further. And also disposition has been led to the DGAC, so the Air Traffic Management, Academic Air Traffic Management in France, also to allow the pilot to make testimony in an official way. The second step is the case creation. Is not only paperwork, I would say is probably the most important step in our process, because the way that we work, we ask to the witness, we need to have the authorization of the witness to publish the result of the investigation, regardless the result, prior the investigation. And this authorization is mandatory to go in the process. If the witness doesn't want to that the result of the investigation will be published in the website, the case is then we give up the case, and the investigation will not be done by the GEPAN. So GEPAN is not a private organization; it's a public organization. It's free of charge for the witness and so on. So we need a kind of collaboration to collect the result of the investigation and put it available for the community. The third step is the first characterization. I would say these three first steps was done by staff. The first characterization is to check with some automatic software, then with the experience of the guy, with the skill of the guy, to check if it's mainly something linked with aerial, space, lighting, and so on, to try to ask as soon as possible information to our partners in order to provide this information to the investigators. The next step is the investigation. So after this first characterization, the investigation is decided, and the case is focused towards the investigator. The investigator makes this the work according the methodology of GEPAN, and there is the first assessment of the strangeness and the consistency of the testimony of the case, and a ranking, a proposal for the ranking of the case. I will come back on this chapter further. The step number 6 is the case anonymity. If we ask to the witness to get the authorization to publish, our duty is to make the result of the investigation and all the documents that will be published in the website fully anonymous. So we have a specific process for that. We have a lady which is in charge to make this work, very important for us. And the seventh step, it's step number 7, sorry, is of course the publication in our website. Another slide regarding the process. So in this, after the collection of the testimony, the first step in the investigation is done in remote by the investigator, and this investigator use many applications, many tools who are in our database, who are available in the database. There is a user manual of these tools, and I put in the slide the main tool we use to make this investigation. We make a reconstitution localization using Geoportail.gouv, which is a French application, Google Earth, Google Maps, of course, weather data with private weather application, Météo Ciel, Météo France, Earthmoov, and probably others. There is a large amount of application to make that. GEPAN has its own image data processing software called IPACO. This is very specific development which has co-founded by GEPAN and a guy from the industry. So this software is you can purchase the software by your own, and in the case of GEPAN, we have a lot of how to say in English, license available for all the investigator. In the case of aeronautical domain, we use the well-known FireRadar 24. We receive and we have a strong partnership with the French Air Force data to get all the traffic above the French territory. And also, we can ask some information to the DGAC through the control tower. I don't know the word in English, and also some radar and so on who are mastered by the DGAC. Regarding celestial bodies, we believe a lot in the Space Situational Awareness Office at CNES, of course. This is a great office in CNES. We have developed with us a specific software for the GEPAN need. The software, the name of the software is Scully. And also we believe also in some application available on the web, like Venabov, Celestrak, and so on. For satellite and debris tracking, there is also the space situation awareness, but also in the sky.org and the Coalition Avoidance Office of CNES, which is an operational services at CNES. For astronomy, we believe, of course, in the application available. We have received the support of the CNRS astronomers and also observatory data. For all this application, I have to say that GEPAN purchased, I would say, the premium level and the platinum level. I don't know, it depends. And of course, this upgrade of application is available for all the investigators. For Meteorite, there is also this well-known website, the fireballimmo.net, the Freeport network, the Bomb network. For Lightning, we have also bizortung.org, Météo France, also an expert at the CNRS, who is really skilled in this kind of phenomenon. The second level of the investigation is the investigation in the field. This step is decided by the investigator himself, and the CNES staff decide if this investigation in the field is necessary or not. Usually is necessary, and in this kind of work, the investigator goes to the area of the observation, meet the witness, make the work he has to do, reconstitution, verification, ask a lot of questions to the witness to try to improve the quantity and the quality of the detail of the observation. And we perform something we have developed with our psychology expert, and cognitive interview of the witness that allow, with this methodology, we try to extract from the mind of the witness memories sometimes difficult to explain at the first level, and this is very interesting to lead this kind of interview with the witness. The third step is the meeting of the board of experts for the review of the data. So it's an option when we find the origin of the UAP, this step of course is skipped. But the board expert is very important for us to try to go further in an investigation who is not fully a good investigation, or sometimes some hypotheses who are not really well explored. And this board of experts is also, the meeting is also organized when we have some unexplained or unidentified phenomena, and when the conclusion of our investigation will lead to the famous decays of GEPAN. We come back on that now. Okay. So the philosophy of ranking is the one you have in this slide. In fact, we draw this chart in something is an automatic calculation which is done in our database, where we chart the consistency of the testimony versus the strangeness. The evaluation of the consistency of the testimony is done during the investigation by the assessment, and with a lot of questions and also a lot of feedback with the witness. We try to improve this quantity and quality of information. There is also this cognitive interview of the witness. We help us to assess the consistency of the observation and what has been reported by the witness. We have to collect and appreciate the evidences to check if the hypothesis we put in front of the observation is compliant or not with what the witness have seen. And I would say we chart this diagram. In fact, I would like to know that the main direction, is to say that an extraordinary claims requires extraordinary proof. This is the way that we work at GEPAN. To be more precise, I will give you the fact that you have an extract here of I think it's the last, an extract of the website of the statistic of the cases. The cases ranked A, about 25% of cases are phenomenon fully identified. The origin of the UAP has been found, and the observation is unambiguously explained. So about 25% of the cases we have to investigate. We have investigated. The classification B is phenomenon more than likely identified. The hypothesis we found after the appreciation of the consistency, the strangeness, is considered probable, so more than probable. The description allows to the assimilation to a well-known phenomenon, but the occurrence during the observation is not formally attested. About 40% of the UAP reported are ranked B. The C classification is the phenomenon is not unidentified after investigation due to a lack of data. We conclude that it's impossible to give a right explanation because of lack of information, because some information are missing, because a lot of possibilities there. But today, in the C case, it's not possible to recover more information to identify formally the phenomenon. And the classification D. So today there is 99 D case in the data in the GEPAN website, in the database. The D case, in fact, the UAP is unidentified after the investigation done with the full methodology at GEPAN, unexplained observation despite element provided and a lot of elements provided during the investigation. So today there is around 3% of cases ranked D in our database, in our website. I give here some example of investigated UAPs. So this is a well-known case now, but at the beginning of history it was not so evident. So we are in the east of France, just after the sunset, and a witness make a movie of something he have seen in the sky, and he sent us this movie. And I don't know if you know what the origin of this UAP. The origin is there. In fact, what has been seen here is the separation between the main stage and the upper stage of the Falcon 9 launcher from SpaceX, Elon Musk. This kind of launcher is used for the deployment of the Starlink huge constellation. You have here what the witness saw during the observation. In fact, the lighting of the upper stage and the passivation of the main stage there. So we are see the stack of Starlink satellite in the upper stage, and when in the first steps of the deployment, you can see sometimes you see this kind of figure with the stripe of Starlink satellites. Just this picture is done here. That this kind of observation is also done by the pilots. And you can imagine, if you don't know what is it, for a pilot who have a lot of passengers in this plane, something in the horizon can affect the pilot when he don't understand what's happening in front of him. So I put this example to see that the first time this kind of UAP has been reported, we make a very huge investigation using of course, the Space Situational Awareness Office, ACNES, to check what's happened above our head, and of course we found with the localization of the location of the observation and the trajectory of one of the launch from Elon Musk, that it was this phenomenon has been seen by the witness. Another phenomenon well identified now but at the beginning also it was difficult to explain. Once again, it's due to the deployment of the mega constellation of Starlink. So today there are about 6,000 Starlink satellites above our head deployed in an orbit about 550 kilometers. Elon Musk and SpaceX expect to launch 40,000 satellites in the coming years. So, what can be seen? So of course, I repeat that during the orbit race, the Starlink satellite will fly in the open book configuration. And when you are in the opposite side of the sun, in the dark side, in the Earth there is the sun, the solar panel which is oriented in front of the sun in some configuration, so reflects the light, and the observer in the dark side can see this stripe. But we have also the fact when the Starlink satellite is on station, in operation, in duty, we found that there are some configuration when the sun is below the horizon, up to in between 45 and 30 degrees below the horizon. At a low elevation, you can see the Starlink satellite moving up and down in the corner, in specific corner of the sky. Once again, this picture was taken by a pilot during a flight, and this pilot was very worried of what happened in front of him. Once again, when he have to have the responsibility of a lot of people in this in the plane. Another example, it's an extract of testimony. We asked to the testimony to fill what we call technical request, to precise their observation when the description is not complete on their first solicitation of the GEPAN. And it was in French because it was in Morlas, which is in the south in France, but I tried to translate what was written by a girl who I've seen was suddenly awoken by a strange sensation which I cannot describe other than a vibration, a feeling of tension or electricity in the air. The feeling was so strong that it pushed me out of my sleep. I could even say that the feeling pulled me out of my sleep and pushed me to get up. Spontaneously, I looked through the large window opening onto my garden opposite my living room. What a surprise to discover circle cloud in the sky. Okay, so I put this example because this observation has been reported by the media, local media there. So we put a lot of the testimony arrived to the GEPAN. We understood quickly what was these forms in the sky. It was specific is contrails. But the goal was to explain why the contrails have this shape and in the origin, of course. It is the goal of our investigation. And in fact, during the investigation, the investigator made two hypotheses. So the hypothesis, which is Horse iron cloud, or the contrails. So the contrails was the right hypothesis, but we had to explain why this kind of contrail and with this shape were just above the witness. So we get the air traffic during the observation using I think it's fly radar, yes, fly radar there, and we ask also the radar track, which is registered by the Air Force office. So we found the same result, hopefully, and in flight radar, and also in this kind of it's not readable there, but you see that it was a small Pilatus that flight just above the witness. As you can imagine, this kind of Pilatus was not able to make this kind of contrail. The investigator found that this Pilatus was used this day to drop parachutists. But the explanation to get this kind of contrail with this small plane was not consistent at all. So we asked to the Air Force an extended overview of the area of the observation. And with this large view, we found in the north of the witness, it's always centered in the center there. We saw in the north of this area traffic done by, I cannot see the sign here, but it was a military plane who was there, in fact, to make the survey of the drop of parachutists. So you know that the trajectory of the airplane, which is who fly in a very high altitude, is able to make this kind of contrails. And we found using using Meteo France data, the fact that the wind at this altitude are able to push this contrail just over the zone of the area of the observation. And during this request to the Air Force, in fact, we saw that during this observation, there is two tracks here. It was, in fact, two heavy helicopters who flew just above the house of the witness, and in fact, this kind of helicopter are able to induce vibration, and it was the fact when the witness said that it was something pushed me out of my sleep, it was a vibration induced by the helicopter. So okay, some word about the networking we are trying to do at GEPAN. I would say that we are quite alone as academic institution in charge of UAP in the world. So we are trying to share our skill with people, association worldwide who are willing to work with the same methodology as GEPAN. So we organize, difficult to say in a regular basis, but we try to organize a kind of workshop called CAIPAN. The participation to this workshop is done under invitation, of course, and during typically it's the 2-day workshop when everybody can ask the stage to present his way of work or some topics regarding UAP or investigation on UAPs. Just to close my talk, I would say that various well-known things can explain most of UAPs, hopefully. So you have in this chart, I would say, the statistics, the repartition of the origin of UAP fully explained by the GEPAN the last 5 years. So is case A and B as our classification. When it is not the case, when well-known thing can explain, the aim of our institution is to define the limit in between what is well understood, taking into account what we know, the knowledge, various domains, and what is not understood. Then Japan is trying to put in shape what is not understood to address various scientific communities connected to CNES to try to improve our knowledge in UAP. So it's something we are trying to do, is another part of our mission. I think I close now. Yes, just to today use a kind of conclusion. So the job, the work of Japan, of course, is first on duty for the French citizen. This is the first mission assigned to Japan. We need and we try to respect all the witness. I would say all the witnesses. Our point of view on UAP is neutral and impartial, and everything we do is done with transparency and with a lot of information. We have nothing to hide at Japan, and this is something which is the clue and the goal of the survey of the Japan by the COPEPIN and the CNES. Thank you a lot for your attention.